Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. This is News Done Differently for the 30th day of March, the year 2022. It is currently 10:01 p.m. This is going to be a very quick episode because of weather. Um, we've already had the lights flicker. And basically, what it is, there's a circulation beginning to form up here on top of a major circulation up here and a whole line of storms down here. And we're going to be in for some weather coming this direction. So, with that being said, this is going to be a quick episode, and let's get to the news. Russian soldiers went unprotected from radiation at Chernobyl. They've been occupying the former nuclear disaster site that occurred in 1986. They've been occupying that and digging ditches, driving tanks with tracks, and throwing radioactive dust in the air. 7 busloads of Russian soldiers crossed back into Belarus, and all of them are suffering from radiation sickness. Again, they went unprotected. Many of them did not know that they were even at Chernobyl, the site of the 1986 nuclear disaster. Russia threatens a nuclear strike on Europe if NATO forces deploy. A Russian political scientist tied to President Vladimir Putin warned that Moscow will launch a nuclear strike on Europe if NATO peacekeepers enter Ukraine. NATO peacekeepers aren't entering Ukraine. There may be some members of NATO that form their own individual coalition of the willing, so to speak, but no NATO forces. Trevor Reed's family say they met with President Biden today. Trevor Reed, a United States Marine that's being held, one of 3 Americans being held in jail in Russia, including the WNBA star, Brittany Griner. And Trevor Reed's family met with Biden. Quote, "He listened intently to everything we had to say until we were through talking. We couldn't have asked for more," end quote, Reed's father said afterwards. A U.S. Navy Offspring aircraft crashes near Chinchicoteg, Virginia. 2 people have been rescued and 1 is still missing. This is the second Offspring aircraft that has crashed in the past 2 weeks. The other one during the NATO exercises that we reported on last week. Again, 7 buses with Russian soldiers suffering from acute radiation syndrome. They've arrived in a hospital in Belarus, and that is all of them were deployed into the Chernobyl exclusion zone, including the Red Forest, where many of them, again, dug defensive trenches into the radioactive ground. A leaked audio recording reveals the co-president of CBS News saying that they hired Trump loyalist Mick Mulvaney, who helped orchestrate the extortion of Zelensky, attempted extortion of Zelensky, because they want, quote, access to Republicans, end quote, because they, quote, know they will win the midterms. And this is from insider Jeremy Barr. That's the problem with media. They want something to happen, so they will tailor their message towards making that happen. And CBS, if they are for Republicans winning the upcoming election, look for their news content to reflect that. That's just the way it works. That's why people watch this show, because it doesn't work that way. Madison Cawthorn, the freshman congressman from North Carolina, last night we reported on him saying that there were cocaine-induced orgies going on in Washington, D.C. among the Republican elite. And earlier today, Kevin McCarthy came out and said, quote, he lost my trust. And he said that Hawthorne lied about salacious tales, and he warns of consequences. Now, that made the news. This probably hasn't made the news yet, but it will. Roger Stone, the one of the 3 people pardoned by Donald Trump, says Congressman Madison Cawthorn just told me, this is Roger Stone, Congressman Madison Cawthorn just told me that he has not retracted his claims about sex-fueled orgies among DC elites. Why would anyone believe anything said by Rhino, R-I-N-O, that stands for R is for Republican, I is for N is for name, and O is for only. Republican in name only. Because McCarthy wouldn't go along with overthrowing the government, Roger Stone's getting a dig in on him by calling him not being Republican enough. Anyway, why would anyone believe anything said by Rhino Kevin McCarthy or repeated by CNN? Nothing reported by CNN is accurate or true. That's not true. They are slanted and they don't tell us everything. But then again, I don't watch much anymore. But when I do watch, I see things I was talking about 2 and 3 days ago. And that's not bragging. That's just because I do news differently. This one, I want to take a moment and actually show you the story. Again, I'm trying to get through this fairly quickly here because we've got some weather coming. This is from Ryan J. Riley, quote, they couldn't stop us and now they know we can do it again and we will fucking do it again, end quote. This comes from the government, United States Department of Justice, releasing some information about upcoming trials for those for next. And I want to also show you this. This is our doomsday plane, our meaning America, not mine and yours. This is America's doomsday plane. It's being accompanied by a Pegasus tanker, and they were testing the doomsday scenario today, about 5 hours ago, and it was over Pasadena, California. Our friend Vlad, who we've been talking with since the second day that the second invasion of Ukraine started, he sent this. It is a strange feeling to wake up every morning due to powerful explosions and the fact that the walls and floors are trembling. But it's even more weird is feeling it. But what is even more weird of a feeling is quietly falling asleep again because you understand that it's our guys that are doing the bombing. And I've got a picture. I'm going to say this. I've got a picture of Vlad and his troops. And in one of the videos about 5 days ago, he said we're protecting somebody, somebody special. Well, they were looking out for the international squadron of special forces that has been made up, known as Alpha One. I can tell you that now because it's not occurring anymore. I want to share this. I don't want to, but I need to share this. You need to hear this. In case anyone has any doubt which side is good, which side is evil, which side is dictator, which side is democracy. I've talked before on here about intercepting phone calls, and one of the things I do is I monitor things, and if I get something that I think significant, I pass it along. And I don't monitor the phones. I monitor other things. But there are people that all they do is monitor the phones because the Russians steal the Ukrainians' phones. And then either they call back to their home, and as soon as they use that phone, if intelligence is aware it's been stolen, which they are, as soon as they use that phone is immediately tapped and geolocated, and the people you hear, the soldiers you hear, end up dead, including generals. Okay, because their communications isn't working, and they're using commercial communications, and this is one of those communications from a former Russian soldier back to his loved one.
Тут, короче, вообще танкисты 3. Взяли девчонку, изнасиловали.
Кто?
Который... 3 танкиста. 16-летний
Наши?
девчонка. Да. Есть все, короче.
Коль, кушать что, нормально хоть?
Да нормально. Позавчера Алабая застрелили.
Кого?
Алабая.
Что, собак видишь, что ли?
Ну, было. У меня проходу, застрелили его.
А что, есть нечего, что ли?
Да не, есть почему-то сухпайки, но сухпайки уже завели.
Господи, елки-палки, блядь, армия наша называется.
Курс гусями все проклинали уже. Тут, короче, вообще танкисты 3. Взяли девчонку, изнасиловали.
That's what's really going on over there. And we don't need that here in the United States, in my opinion. And those that are hungry for that aren't seeing what you and I are seeing, aren't hearing what you and I are hearing. The realities of what war is. And I need to show you this too. Again, it's just absolutely absurd. And I've got to get through all this because we got weather coming, but okay, this is near a border crossing. As Ukrainians are trying to get out of the country, Russia has laid mines all across the road, and there's just one path that is wide enough for them to get through. And just so you can see that they are indeed they can't be moved. If one goes, they all go, more than likely. And yet these people, whatever's going on behind them is so bad that they're willing to drive through this to get away from it. Raping kids, killing and eating dogs. That's just some of it. That's not even close to it.
Да пиздец.
Would you want to drive through this?
Bueno, man.
I mean, if you think driving in to get your oil changed and staying on that short path is an accomplishment, it's crazy. China is willing to work with Russia to take China-Russian ties to a higher level. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said following meetings with Sergei Lavrov, China is willing to work with Russia to take China-Russia ties to a higher level, a new world order. The vehicle pileup I showed the other night that happened in Pennsylvania, where it just got out of control incredibly quick. 80 vehicles ended up in that pileup. 6 people died caused by that sudden snowstorm. So a lesson learned there in driving in that kind of weather and not to do it. Let me get back here. I hit the wrong button, and I'm going to save some of these pictures that I want to show you. In 2010, Ivanka and Don Jr. were nearly indicted for felony fraud by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for their involvement with Russia mafia operation in Soho. After Vance, the district attorney, met with a Trump lawyer, gave him a hefty donation, and asked Vance to drop the charges. Vance did so. That's currently being looked into in retrospect. The Russian government legalizes parallel imports, which is the sale of goods without the permission of the copyright holders. The list will include intellectual properties like movies, music, software, and inventions. Russia goes from being an international pariah to an international copyright theft. The U.S. intelligence community concludes that Putin was unaware that the military had been using and losing conscripts in Ukraine. Reportedly, there are tensions between Putin and his Minister of Defense, Soji, and that may be why we haven't seen Soji so much on the TV. Representative Matt Gaetz, who is charged with 3 separate counts of sexual trafficking of a minor, received permission to enter the hard drive contents of Hunter Biden's seized laptop into the congressional record. This is not a top story. This is not even an important story. I don't care. I don't care about Hunter Biden or his laptop. He's not a government official. He poses no threat to the United States of America. He's a private citizen. If he's guilty, and I wouldn't be surprised he is, he's a rich white kid. I've had more than my fair share of experiences with those kind of kids. They're generally schmucks. So I don't care. I really don't. It's not an issue to me. It shouldn't be an issue to you. If it's more important than a former president of the United States calling a war criminal in the middle of a conflict and asking that war criminal for help in overthrowing our government, you need to know what side you're on, because we've got it figured out. I've got to show this because I've got to show 2 things before I close here, because I've been talking a lot, and I'm not talking out of my hat. I've been talking a lot about QAnon is nothing more, has never been anything more than a Russian propaganda tool. And I've been doing a bunch of digging on it. And this came out of Parler. Okay, this is the This is the Russian search engine key right here. And I'm not going to bore you with the codes or anything, but the Russian presence in Parler, as well as on Facebook, is really undeniable, and it's getting more and more attention, and more people are digging. While I do have this up, I'll share this picture real quick. This is the one I want to share. This was entitled Ukrainian Princesses Protecting the Sky. This is one of their female soldier volunteers with a, I can't tell if that's I think it's a javelin, but I'm not sure. No, it's longer than a javelin. It might be one of the Russian, or I'm sorry, one of the British. Anyway, sorry, we got to get through this. I can't get on a tangent. Okay, the QAnon. Okay, this is from a 2019 article about artificial intelligence. All right, and talking about how they had been using artificial intelligence and fooling people into thinking they're talking with real people, when in reality it's artificial intelligence. They are interacting with, like, the QAnon. Okay, the machine intelligence research, and all of this was being done by Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, yeah, that Jeffrey Epstein, yeah. And this was our top story last night, that Russia is calling on Trump and the Trump supporters to, well, let's just watch this one final time to end the night.
Народ Соединенных Штатов сменить.
Because again, I don't care about Hunter Biden. Every other media in the world can be talking about Hunter Biden and Hunter Biden's laptop. The FBI's had it for a long time. The Gates guy held up a thumb drive, whatever those are called, and said, you know, I've got the Hunter Biden's hard drive. You know, there's no trail of evidence, and there's nothing legally about it other than he just holding up, and so that thumb drive is in the congressional record, whatever may be on it, and I don't care what's on it. You know, they may be looking for a cheat code for Candy Crush. I don't know. You know, they may be looking for video footage of what they claim, is that Trump was visited by Elvis, Michael Jackson, okay, and John F. Kennedy Jr., all right, all in the White House. So they're probably looking for that video evidence so they could prove that really happened. That may be on Hunter Biden's laptop. I don't know. I don't care. If he's guilty, I don't care. I really don't. If he's innocent, I don't care, because it is not a matter of national security. It's a matter of whether he's a criminal or not. And if he is, he needs to be punished. What's going on here is a matter of national security.
Нам, нашему народу, пришло время призывать народ Соединенных Штатов сменить режим в США досрочно и снова помочь нашему партнеру Трампу стать президентом. Нам, нашему народу, пришло время призывать народ Соединенных Штатов сменить режим.
Change the regime in the United States, to change the regime early, to get our partner, Donald Trump, back as president. I'm gonna run that one more time, just because it can't be run enough, because nobody else is running it. Yeah, they're all going to talk about what they have in mind. Okay, they all have an agenda. Each one of the news agencies has an agenda, and my agenda is I work for the world, And my agenda is just sharing information and letting you make your own decisions. Yeah,
Призывать
I say what I
народ
think about
Соединенных
it,
Штатов сменить
but just because I say it doesn't mean you should think that way too. Think for yourselves. But the dots are obviously connected, and they're connecting more and more and more, and they will over time. My hope is the Justice Department does its job before the frying pan gets too hot for Donald Trump.
нам, нашему народу, пришло время призывать народ Соединенных Штатов сменить режим в США досрочно и снова помочь нашему партнеру Трампу стать президентом. Нам, нашему народу, пришло
It's time for
время
us, for our
призывать
people, to call on the people
народ
of the
Соединенных
United
Штатов
States
сменить
to change the
режим
regime in the US
в
early,
США досрочно и снова
and to
помочь
again help our
нашему
partner Trump,
партнеру Трампу стать
our partner
президентом.
Trump to become
Нам, нашему
president,
народу, пришло
our
время
partner
призывать
Trump to become president. Are you Russian? If you're not, you ought to be questioning what the hell is really going on here. This is News Done Differently for Wednesday, the 30th day of March. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow.